Hey guys, it's Roscoe on the Space Couch today. Some Hyperloop news for you. Now, one of the issues that we had with Hyperloop was that the two main companies, their names are just too similar. Hyperloop Transportation Technologies and Hyperloop Technologies. Now, that has now changed because Hyperloop Tech have renamed themselves as Hyperloop One, which is good because that is much easier to remember. And also, they recently conducted their very first test of their design. They had the sled going down the track. I think it reached 116 miles an hour within a couple of seconds, and then it hits the sand and all that. So, initial test, very interesting. Now, so obviously, now that they're in the testing phase, there are various issues are being worked on, tech issues that is. But I tell you what is also interesting is they received $80 million in a second financing round. Most notable part of that was, and I don't know how much of that investment was by them, but SNCF, the French National Railway Company, invested in that round, which is very interesting. The other VC company that I'd heard of was Cosler Ventures, who have also taken part in that run. There were several others, but Cosler's the one I was most familiar with. I believe they invested in some of Elon Musk's early projects, but I'm not certain. But they're around and they're one of the most important ones out there. Now, France obviously is a leader, like, say, Japan and I guess China, in the high-speed rail and has been for a very long time. So it is good to see their involvement. It's like when the companies were signing the engineering type agreements, and it's like the nature of the quality of the companies involved was very encouraging, and the quality of a company at SNCF being involved is, as I said, again, very good news. That does open up the potential for European Hyperloop projects down the line. Now, as part of the Hyperloop competition that SpaceX have been running, MIT have now unveiled their initial pod. It's not for passengers and it's scaled down. And apparently they're having some issues with braking and they're not able to make it turn on bends, which is a bit worrying. But, well, I mean, there's plenty of time to get all that resolved. It's going to use magnets to levitate rather than an air cushion. So I believe that is the passive levitation, I believe. Rather than, I suppose it would be active, the ones when they use the magnets. Now, the other Hyperloop company, HTT, has also been making some progress. Now, they announced that they're going to be using maglevs, not air cushions. It's going to be the forward motion of its pods that provide the passive levitation as a side effect. I think it's like the magnets from the bottom, it goes over the coils to generate all of that. It's quite interesting, you know. It's like should be pretty interesting seeing once that has actually had a prototype under construction. Now, the other thing about HTT, they're the ones who are not led by Van Brogan of SpaceX Tesla. They've got an agreement with Slovakia to explore building a Hyperloop between Bratislava and Vienna. And I think there's also options. It was either Budapest or Prague was going to be part of that network, which kind of makes sense. The old capitals of the Austrian-Hungarian empires, very closely linked. But we shall see. So it does seem that we're striding ever closer to an actual working Hyperloop system at some point. I mean, it has only been 3 years, less than 3 years, I think, since Elon's white paper on the Hyperloop concept, you know, and progress has, has been going on ever since he announced it, I suppose. Now, hopefully in a few years, the Hyperloop is going to be pretty commonplace and standard trains will begin to be superseded. We can only hope. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment and suggestion for an upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed. Let me know what you think of the latest Hyperloop news. I like the video.